All right, and we are now back with SGA. Thank you guys so much for coming on. And just to get started, maybe you can just do a little introduction, go down the line of like who you guys are, major, just introduce yourselves. We'll start there and go from there.
Yeah, sure. Hey everyone, my name is Matthew. I'm a senior political science major. Currently serve as the president of RUC SGA as well as the student lead for the RUC Ballot Bowl, our vote coalition here on campus.
Hi everyone, I'm Justine. I'm the secretary of the SGA for this year. I am also the vice president of ACM and the secretary of Chemistry Club.
Hi everyone, my name is Rogelis Vasquez. I'm also a senior. I'm a double major in psychology and criminal justice. I am the GEO chairperson for SGA. I'm also the president of Psych Club and secretary for the Tri Alpha Honor Society.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming on. And just to kind of get started, before I jump into my questions, maybe just tell me a little bit about kind of like what SGA has, the different events you guys have done, like, this semester. How's the semester been for you just starting out for the association, and how have things gone so far in the first month of the semester?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can start first, but the SGA has been off to a really tremendous start, really good start, and that's thanks to the great e-board, two of them right here with me that have helped accomplish that. We were speaking at Raptor Welcome, helping out there. We hosted a casino night during Raptor Welcome,
Nice.
the Welcome Week, which was super successful. Tons of people, tons of prizes to give out. We've had our general body meetings. We're having our first town hall tomorrow during free period, which is really exciting.
Awesome.
And we've been really working, hitting the ground hard, trying to just pass some motions. We just provided funding for all student orgs on campus here that we fund to not have to worry about paying for security or maintenance, things they can't prepare for, making sure that we have that budgeted for them so they don't have to stress about that, and we found that really important.
Awesome.
To add on, we just had a meeting with the Office of Federal Relations, which is actually in communication with all the other three campuses, so the Newark campus, New Brunswick, and Camden, and they gave us a lot of insight about the status of financial aid, specifically for our campus. They're also trying to see if we can get more Camden students to participate in their respective inter-campus activities, so we are definitely looking into getting more members for the RSSDC and RSSI program. And there's also a national, not a national, but like a daily, like there's a day you can go.
The lobby days.
Yeah, the lobby days.
Yeah,
You can go to that.
Nice.
Historically, Camden students didn't really participate as much, and we're trying to get that back up. Also, what else? I had something in my mind, but we can go.
Talk about your grad advocacy that we just passed.
Oh yes, we did. We did just pass a motion to advocate for better grad prep courses or programs on campus. I'm currently studying for LSAT, so I'm applying to law school this semester, and I have run into just difficulties on this campus and just Rutgers in general, trying to get help, kind of get guidance. Who should I look for a tutor for? Is there anything here? Are there pre-law advisors? We don't have pre-law advisors necessarily here on this campus. New Brunswick does, but you're not going to drive an hour and however to go see somebody.
Yeah, of course.
So there's that. They do have an MCAT program here in courses, but it needs a lot of improvement. There's nothing for the GMAT. There's nothing for the GRE. I did speak to somebody and they did tell me that there are faculty here that want to push for that. So it's just going to come down to getting students involved as well.
You guys have a lot going on. That's awesome. That's really awesome to hear, and that kind of segues perfectly into my first question. So, as an academic support center, as an academic support resource, we're pretty much always directly involved in the day-to-day of students because we have, peer tutors that, we employ that are students, and we're helping students every single day. I was a peer tutor, and then I just graduated, so I just came out of being a student, and so it's a very, very involved organization when it comes to just the day-to-day of student lives. So my question to you guys is, what do you think, whether it's tomorrow, this week, this semester, could be changed immediately that you think would immediately impact your ability to kind of better succeed as a student academically?
To me, sometimes the issue is there's this barrier between students knowing what resources are available to them and the resources that exist to provide, letting students know they exist. So we're in a situation where, sometimes students ask for a specific program and we might actually have that, And it's not because they're not looking for it, it's just they can't seem to find it, or it's not being put out there for them to see sometimes in ways that maybe just need to be more accessible to them.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, because I know we have a writing lab, we have obviously tutoring, and sometimes I think, you know, the administration of the university needs to really hammer those down and really make sure people know these options are available. And that's just like quick methods to just see how we can reach out to students better.
Yeah, of course.
And I think if that's something that happens, you'll see more students hopefully using the programs that exist already, and then we can start learning, okay, where are the faults in these programs now that we have more students using them, and then maybe we'll have some input from them, and then where can we improve those?
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Anyone else want to add?
To answer that, I guess students should kind of change their perspective about college, because I fell into the same problem last semester. I was taking 7 classes. I was pretty much doing good at all my grades, but I did not enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
And coming out of that, now that I'm involved in even more clubs, I want to identify myself not only as a college student, but someone who's discovering the meaning of life and trying to traverse my path wherever that may be, if it's medical, if it's for social engagement, civic engagement. I just want to be me. I do not want to be identified just as like a college student trying to get through stuff and get my degree.
Yeah, I feel that one. I feel that one big time.
I think for me, something that could be changed right away, at least in a feasible way, would be altering these programs that you're talking about and what this campus does to the commuter population. This isn't
Yeah.
New Brunswick where most people live on campus.
Yep.
People in Camden are mostly in and out. And I'm a commuter myself, so this year, yes, I did get a lot more involved in just seeing, you kind of find your little place on this campus. But before then, it's difficult to know about these programs. It's difficult to know about events going on or the resources that there are on this campus, because they're not necessarily targeted towards commuters. They're targeted, yes, to all the students on here, but there's a different sort of communication you need with commuter students compared to people who actually live here.
I just have to say, I had 6 questions. I'm throwing them all out the window because based off of that first one, I want to touch on each individual point because I think those were all incredible. So I want to just, go down the line. So starting with kind of what you're talking about in terms of just getting the word out more. That is something that I definitely experience. And I think as like, for example, if I'm tabling for my office or, even when I was a student, the first thing that I hear when I'm explaining to people what we do or what other offices around campus do is, oh, wow, I didn't know that. It's not, oh, I didn't need that, it's I didn't know that. And when I was a student, there were so many things, even now, like as I just got out of being an undergraduate, I'm just finding out about programs and I'm like, if I had known this 4 months ago, like, it would have been amazing. And so my question to you would be, in terms of communication, what do you think, from your perspective and what you've seen with students, what do you think is the best way to communicate this information to them to make them kind of see and understand the value of it? What channels, how do you think it's best? Because I think sometimes from a faculty and staff perspective, since they're not students, they don't know, or they may have a less strong sense of kind of how is the best way we can reach them. Is it a flyer? Is it an event? Is it something on social media? So in your opinion, what do you think is the best way to communicate that information to students about these resources?
Yeah, it's definitely like this ongoing challenge where you see people try different methods and it doesn't seem to work. And obviously people say like, well, I send emails all the time, but no one's, constantly checking their email. Sometimes social media doesn't reach the people you needed to reach. I think all those methods you need to continue, as they're just different methods. I think the peer-to-peer, that person-to-person connection that you do throughout the campus, I think those tablings can be really effective as you're seeing people go, oh, I didn't know this, and now they know because you talk to them.
Yeah.
And hopefully, you're talking that one person finds out and tries one of the programs you offer and then tells it to other students. That can be really effective. But I really want to, promote our student organizations here, who I think can be really effective role players in promoting these messages. I think a lot of students' first sight of involvement when they decide to start getting involved is going to an organization maybe that relates to their major or their cultural identity. And those are really kind of the first points of contact we see between student orgs and other students who are trying to get more involved. And they can really serve as the first step if we work with these organizations to be like, hey, can you help promote this program?
Yeah.
Or we really want to get something out there, but we think it's important. These orgs can help promoted. I know the SGA wants to help promote and make sure that students are aware of resources that are available with, like, hopefully, little to no cost, obviously, no cost
Yeah.
ideally, and we want to make sure students are aware of those.
That's great. And on I want to stick here for a second and then not forget about what you said, because that is just as interesting to me. When it comes to kind of collaborating, communicating with these student orgs and kind of involving them in that process. So then, based off what you said, would you say that you would like to see more collaboration from a academic support office standpoint with these student orgs?
I think that would be best. I think it's the best method to, one, get the word out there, but also see what students are thinking about these programs.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're students. They obviously have the first-hand college experience right now. They're experiencing the day-to-day lives of being on this campus and going through classes. So to me, they also have some of the best input that can be provided about these programs. I think it can lead to a really good, effective relationship of improving academic life here on campus, and also allowing the promotion of things that Rutgers is offering to students to actually be used.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's one of the first things when I started working here as officially as a marketing assistant. I was like, these student orgs that I was just a part of that were the gateway to me meeting so many different people and getting involved. It's like, we need to just see what they're up to. Like that, I think that's the first thing, is just kind of be like, this is our office. We don't know much about you. Like, let's just start kind of communicating and getting to know each other. And then
100%.
we realized, oh, we have a peer tutor that's a part of SGA, or we have a peer tutor that's a part of Active Minds, Access. And then it's like, it's not that hard once you start communicating.
Yeah.
And so it's good to hear that that's kind of, we're on the right track with that, because I think it's super important. And kind of on your piece, talking kind of just about not just being a college student that's trying to make it through, and like being a whole person. I also felt that a lot, especially as a business major, and I was a marketing major, and so everyone was like, oh, so you just do social media. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, and that's not all of my interests either. I'm like, I do music, I have other interests, I write, yes, that's the field that I want to go into. That's a huge part of my life right now as a college student, but there's so much more to me. And the second I felt that was kind of paid attention to more, I immediately felt more motivated to pay attention to my academic side. So I guess my question to you would be, what kind of events or workshops or even just initiatives do you think would kind of help more promote that like three-dimensional view of a student, to kind of make them feel not like just a major, you know what I mean?
So I'll start from the root source of it. I am part of the Bonner Civic Scholars, and it's a program that's focused on civic engagement. And because of that program, I was able to enter the RSSI internship, which is an interschool internship program that's designed for civic engagement. So I was actually a social media intern for a bookstore at Philadelphia doing marketing efforts. And a lot of people there asked me, you're a health science major, why are you doing social media internship?
Yeah, exactly.
For the first time in forever, I was able to rediscover my love for designing. I am pretty avid at social media posts. I designed a comprehensive social media toolkit for the bookstore, including the colors, including the fonts and whatnot. So I was able to see my artistic side flourish, not just like what usually my friends say, oh my god, Justine, you're so focused on the sciences, is there anything else you're providing?
Yeah.
So they saw that side of me, and I love the arts. I love to sing, I love to perform, and all of those are getting hidden because I'm doing chemistry, biology, physics. So,
I hear you.
So that's a program that I really loved. Yeah.
That's awesome. I hear the same thing. Like some of the open mics that we had this past semester that were all around campus. I mean, like those made me excited to be on campus, and then those allowed me to kind of just be more excited about my classes, because sometimes you don't wake up and feel like I want to do calculus today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think that holistic experience, kind of like encouraging that more. I agree. I think that is really important. And to your point about commuter specific things, so I'm so glad you said that. I have been beating this drum for a very long time. I wrote a research paper on it. I was a commuter student. I have a 45-minute commute. I've been doing it for 3 years. And yeah, it's a huge thing. So I'm not going to get on my soapbox. I'm going to ask you, what kind of initiatives, or even if it's just small little things that would help, whether it's maybe a workshop on how to navigate travel better, or anything, because sometimes it really is the small things when it comes to commuting, both on campus and just getting to campus. What kind of things do you think would help just improve the treatment of that perspective more?
Well, to start off with resources, at least the most common area that every single student goes through on campus is a classroom.
Yeah.
I know professors will put like big resources like the disability and the wellness center and things like that on their syllabus, but I feel like it would be beneficial if they don't even have to go through it, but maybe just put a link of all the resources that are available on campus. They'll be like, look, this is a link with all the resources available, you can look at it. They don't necessarily have to go through all of it, but because the classroom is the one place that every single student goes to, it's the one place that will actually reach every single commuter student.
Yeah.
When it comes to engagement, honestly, aside from what Matt's been talking about, the advocacy for programs and advertising and getting the word out, I personally feel like there's just been a shift recently, because I started 2020, so COVID years.
Yeah.
I have seen this year more engagement overall on campus.
I felt
So
that
it
too,
might
yeah.
have just been a thing where it was like COVID, people like, especially commuters, they're just gonna come to class, go home, don't wanna get sick. Or it's just because we started college that way, at least for the students that are around my age, or started around the year that I did. So I think it's more so maybe that, just giving things a little bit more time, as well as putting out those resources in the classroom. And when it comes to the different offices on this campus, emails aren't going to be great. Emails
Never.
aren't great.
Yep.
I know a lot of people are like, oh, did you see this on the Rutgers app? I barely open my Rutgers app. I'm going to be so honest with you. I only open it if I'm going to go on Engage.
Yeah.
So when people try and post things on that feed, maybe like a third or half the school is going to see it.
Interesting.
So I don't think that's the most effective way either. I can't give you an answer because I don't know,
Yeah,
but maybe just the workshop would be a good idea, maybe having that event various semesters, maybe like twice a semester, having it via Zoom as well, just a place for commuters to go and like feel that they're being included, feel like they're being targeted.
Yeah, that's it. And I also see, I haven't been to one yet, but I've wanted to go, but the commuter social
Yeah.
hour that OSI does, like, I think that's a great
Yeah.
idea. And so kind of, I want to stay on that for a second, because we know, but other people may not know, or may not think about it as much. When it comes to how being a commuter affects your academic success, and in that day-to-day, can you kind of speak to how those little things that you may not think of, whether it's not having a place to kind of like sit down and study for a long period of time because you have to rush, or so many different things that go into that. Can you kind of speak to how that affects your ability to perform in the classroom or study?
Yeah, so speaking mostly on last year, which was like the first full regular year, I would say, I was taking my 6-7 courses. I had 2 internships plus a part-time job.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of days where I'd be here on like a Tuesday, and I'd also have an evening class. So in the breaks that I had to eat, and then I didn't have time to do my homework, but I was here all day. And then I had to allot time to going back home, the traffic, everything. And I don't live too far. I live like 20 minutes from here. I know a lot of other students like you who live 45 minutes, an hour away.
Yep.
So one, that already cuts down on your time. You get home, you eat dinner, it's like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. You want to have a nice sleep schedule and you can't.
Yeah.
So everything adding up will eventually cause your academics to fall. Maybe not drastically, but it will fall, because then you're not getting enough sleep, you're not eating well, your mental health goes all over the place. Once your mental goes all over the place, so will your academics. And then here too, if you want to, after your classes, let's say your classes end at like 5, and you're just like, okay, I want to do some homework. You can stay here and go to the library and study, but then you end up getting home again at like 9, 10 p.m. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to eat dinner. It's a cycle. So I think I don't know. It's
not
hard.
easy.
It's hard.
It's not.
It's hard
Because some of it's just like out of our control. Like you
Yeah.
know, class ends at 5, and like we do have like I live if I'm lucky and there's no traffic coming home, it's a 25-minute drive. But usually, knowing how if anyone is from South Jersey drives around here and goes on 42,
Yep.
Oh,
they
it's
know
horrible.
all that construction's absolutely atrocious, and your 25-minute drive turns into almost an hour.
It's a disaster.
And
this
I
morning.
mean, I get home I usually get home at like 7, 8 o'clock most nights, sometimes even later. And
yeah.
like you said, it's important for us to have time to like not think about school
Right.
or your extracurriculars. You want just time to relax.
But at the same time, I
And-
feel like the extracurriculars, being involved, that helps. Like,
Yeah,
yes, you
no,
may not
yeah.
have time. Like, I don't have time for anything, and I'm so involved with all this stuff. But it's because that social interaction just makes
Which
you
is-
feel
yeah.
better.
I mean, that's how I am. Like talking more makes me energized.
Yeah.
So it helps.
And that's kind of one of the things that I'm most excited about in terms of like letting people know about our services, because I think it targets every single thing. It targets
Mhm.
the social because you're studying with another person. It makes studying more efficient because you're studying with someone who just got finished like excelling in the class, and it kind of just makes that little bit of time you have a little bit more useful, and you're
Yeah.
expanding your learning network. You get to know people, and if you are a commuter, like a lot of this campus is, you can also do it virtual and in person, and kind of also like just academically in terms of like resources and like just even knowing where things are. I think that's a big one. So a lot of people just don't. I did it for like a year and a half. I did not know where things were on campus
Mhm.
because I was rushing all the time because I was a commuter. And so like the Navigate app, it has everything in there. So that's why I'm excited to like let people know about that. But kind of one other thing I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit is from our like experience, having a peer tutoring program, it's actually a lot more personal than you might expect, because as a student, you're trusting the tutor to kind of ask for help, or you're trusting them to kind of accept that I'm vulnerable in this situation, I need help with this, I'm trusting you to kind of lead me along this session or different things like that. And so my question to you guys would be, what would your encouragement or perspective be when it comes to knowing how to ask for help, and knowing even just kind of if you are feeling isolated in terms of, again, like I have to do this all by myself, or I know a lot of times commuters might feel that a little bit more because they aren't, they don't have a roommate or different things like that on campus. My question is, how can like engagement and involvement kind of encourage people to know when to ask for support?
I think when you get engaged, I think you just naturally find social groups
Yeah.
that you're able to trust, and then you're all kind of in it together. Everyone here is like struggling in some aspect with some schoolwork, maybe some event they're working on. Like everyone here is kind of like in the same boat. We're all kind of in this together, of just pushing our way through college.
Yeah.
And so we all kind of learn to depend and trust on each other. So when we do feel like we are really struggling, we can go to someone who might say we need help, and then maybe that person does know, like, hey, maybe try the peer tutors here.
Yeah.
And there's just that system that kind of builds where we trust each other to know that when we're struggling, we can get that help and go. Because I think it's the students we're going to trust the most, which is great about peer tutoring, because I think we're going to trust the student when we want that help instead of like, a teacher or maybe a staffer. I think when you have connections with students, you're just able to, trust each other more and lean on each other when you really start to struggle.
Yeah, and actually kind of on that piece, and I want to get each of your perspectives on this. I do agree that students tend to trust students the most, but faculty and staff have a lot to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And my question would be, what do you think, from a student's perspective, what do you think students specifically need to hear from faculty and staff that would kind of encourage them to feel a little bit more comfortable? Because I think that sometimes there is a little bit of a divide. I don't know what it is. I felt it sometimes too. There are other times that I felt super comfortable. I don't think it's anyone's fault. I just think it's a thing.
Yeah.
And so what do you think that students need to hear specifically in the way that they're being communicated to know, like, I am safe in this space to ask for additional help?
So I've never felt that divide the entire time I've been here. Maybe it's because of my majors, maybe it's because of the professors that I've taken my classes with. But what I have noticed is the professors that you are the most comfortable with, they show you that same respect that you would show them.
Yeah.
You're equal, not I'm here teaching you, you listen and write things down.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of an engagement with students, whether it's in the classroom, just being like, just very small stuff, like asking for students' opinions, trying to get students to participate. In that way, I feel like they build a form of respect and just equalness between students and professors. I know I felt that with my professors, which is why I would then go to the office hours of my professors. And even if it had nothing to do with class, I would ask them about certain resources. I remember my sophomore year, I felt this like equal respect with my one professor. I went to her and I was like, look, I'm struggling with this, this, and this. And it had nothing to do with class. And she geared me the right way.
Yeah. That's super important because I agree. Like I felt the divide at times, but more often than not, I've felt a really good connection with my professors, and those have led to some of my favorite semesters or favorite things on campus where I'm like, I can't believe I got to know this person, and they led me down this path. Because I think sometimes maybe what kind of gets lost when you're in the rush of things, and professors are busy too. Everyone's so busy. Is that like the organizations that are in place here and the professors that are in place, like, they will advocate for you. Most, you know what I mean? Like most, they will advocate for you. I felt it. I actually got involved at the tutoring center because I built a relationship with the professor just like 5 minutes after class, like, asking more about the class and more about the topics. And then she recommended me to start working at the learning center. So yeah, I definitely feel that. Does anyone else have anything to add on that specifically?
Students really need to hear the sentence, "We are not here to fail you, we are here to help you," because in very competitive majors, especially in the STEM field, a lot of classes, especially the higher level ones, are going to be treated as weed out courses. And in this world where a lot of students are just trying to be professionals in very different fields, it's competitive. I understand that, but instead of treating each other as enemies or rivals per se, why not collaborate and work together into working for a common goal?
Yeah, I think that's a big one because I've definitely felt that at times too, where it's just I'm already thinking about, okay, what's my grade going to be and what does that say about me as a person? Am I going to fail this class? And that creates so much anxiety that doesn't necessarily have to be there if things were just a little bit different. And I think that sense, if everyone started out, the class with that sentence like at the beginning of the semester, I think it would ease a lot of people's anxieties. I felt that once too. One of my professors, they were like, "You're not going to fail this class," or "If you work hard enough, you're not going to fail this class," and it did help a lot.
And to add on to that, there's a difference for freshman people who are entering college. A lot of high school teachers kind of like put people into this perspective and mindset that, oh my god, if you're not going to be serious about college, you're going to fail immediately. You should start realizing that once you enter college, you're the one who is responsible for your grade, not the professor. The professor is only there to guide you and to give you the resources, but ultimately you're the one in control.
Yeah, that's a big one. Because I think especially as a freshman, and sometimes even as a sophomore, when you're coming in to a university, it doesn't matter really the size, but you're just making that switch from high school to college. It kind of just feels like you're just walking into this big institution that there's so many things that you have to kind of get in where you fit in, when it's like you have more freedom than ever in some sense over your destiny, whether it's what major you want to go in, different things like that. So I think that's a big one as well. I really like that one. And so kind of just one more question, and I think we kind of already touched on this a little bit, but I want to dig in a little bit more. Is that so we kind of talked about how to feel more comfortable asking for help, whether it's peer tutoring, any of the support offices on this campus. What do you think would deter you, or has deterred you in the past from saying, I don't think I want to ask for help, or, I don't like the way this was communicated, or I don't feel that this is going to lead me in the right way? What kind of deters you? Or maybe if you've heard other people say that I really don't like the way this was done.
I think it's kind of the thing Justine was almost saying to we want to avoid is that feeling of like everyone's kind of in it for their own interest, or that grade centric kind of vibe. I feel can deter people. I'm for it, and that's why I can't speak too much on it. I think I've never felt that, but I really think it does start with your professors. How do they treat you in class? Is it more of just a lecture and they just talk for an hour and then you leave, and then he doesn't really maybe the office hours just aren't maybe accessible, or they're not accessible after class to talk. I think when you feel especially in a campus that's small and it's focused on you're supposed to have these close connections with professors, it's that advantage over a larger campus. If you don't feel like that's there, you're just going to be well, I'm just going to sit here, do my paper, do my test, and get out.
Yeah.
I feel like it really can start there. I think Justine really spoke on that, what you want to try and avoid.
To add on to that, I did have a friend who is a computer science major, and the professor does not provide very good feedback per se. So they're doing the coding and they're practicing, but the professor wants it a specific way. I know that for some classes it can be a rigid structure. There's like only one answer and one correct way to do it, but the professor should also understand it's a creative process. And you can definitely relate that to other fields, even in law. Like there is law, but you can also have different perspectives of law depending on what the rule is. So if the professor can be a little more open to newer education, because what they learned probably before during their undergraduate and doctoral years very different from what our current generation is learning right now.
Yeah, no, that's a big part of it too. And so I have one more question, and then I'm going to leave a little space to just, if there's any upcoming events, anything that you want to let people know about, I'm going to leave some space for that. So specifically for class, for the Center for Learning and Student Success, since we are an academic support office and we're part of the system that we're talking about, even if it's small scale, what do you think is something that we could do specifically that you would like to see better? You know, just for our little corner of the yard with tutoring and academic, support. Anything that comes to mind, even just the tiniest thing.
I think it's kind of what we spoke on earlier, is that just like, really hammering in that like person to person connection, that like face to face. Maybe it's just like talking to one student for a bit, like really making the extra effort. Obviously, like keep your other media efforts that you guys are doing, but that's more of a general thing. When you really make personal connections with people, it makes them more encouraged, and the more you can do with that, and it's definitely a bit more challenging, it's a bit more time consuming to do that kind of stuff.
It's more rewarding though.
But it is 100% more rewarding.
Yeah.
I think it's a great feeling. I think it's rewarding on both sides. You feel like you're really making this connection, and the student's going to feel like there's someone here that really wants to see me succeed.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously success is in the name of the Academic Success Office, and that's what you want to make sure students know you're there for. And I think I said it a little earlier, so I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I really think that's a really good starting ground. I think if you can get that with one or two students, and those two students can go and help spread it, I think that can like really bring in a big benefit.
So a lot of our peer tutors, including myself, are very talented people who have a lot of stories and backgrounds. So for the social media efforts, I think putting them at the forefront of it and spreading their stories, just so students can see their success, but also for like many people like me, I was not the best student in high school, and they did write an article about myself where I graduated with a 2.9 GPA and I wasn't good academically, but I'm doing better in college. So if more people who are attending those tutoring sessions realize that we are also the same as them at some point, they will be more incentivized to attend those sessions.
Oh, it's really good. It's a perfect answer.
Yeah, I agree. Anything you want to add? If not, it's totally fine. I just,
I mean, can't top off Justine.
It's hard to do that.
But I think maybe, well, I've never taken tutoring here before, so I don't know how it goes, but I feel like also, yes, if the student comes in because they need help in a certain subject, okay, you help them. But there's a lot of times when you're not doing well in a class because there's something else going on in your life. So I think maybe
more often
just
than not, I would say, honestly.
So I don't know if you guys do this already, but just maybe taking the time build that personal connection, but also understand if there's anything else going up in their lives. That way, one, you understand what's going on. Two, you can tailor the way you're teaching them this material in a way that won't just bombard their brain. You know what you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. No, I got you.
Oh, she brings up a great point. If there's a way that class and the mental health resources and campus can collaborate, just so they can definitely see which students are just academically struggling, or the other students who are definitely have something going on. Both student groups need to be separated first off.
Yeah, I would say, and that's kind of why, like, at least, for what I'm doing here, that's exactly why the more personal aspect, it's exactly why I started this. And then for this semester, that's exactly what the first people that I reached out to in terms of student orgs was Active Minds, because I think that I know for me in my undergraduate, like my 4 years, mental health was the number one thing that affected my grades. It was not how well I understood the material. It was mental health and everything that falls under that, even little things like time management, anything that can contribute to anxiety, and stress. That was the number one thing. So it's really good to hear that, you know, like that kind of be touched on too. And yeah, when it comes to like putting tutors at the front, actually, we're going to be starting a tutor takeover. Every week, tutors are going to like take over the Instagram, and so like yeah, we definitely want to like showcase so many like they're literally okay. Side note, I'm sorry. In our meetings, like when all the tutors come together, like once a semester, I'm like, there are so many cool people here. I wish I could get to know everyone. Like our peer tutors are so talented. Like she's right, and I wish I got to know more of you guys because everyone is just so all over the place. But hopefully, with some of the like events and collaborations that are coming up and that we want to do more of, everyone just kind of gets that sense of community a little bit more. But yeah, so now we have like we went a little bit over, but that's okay because I'm loving this. Just in the last couple minutes, if there's anything in specific that SGA is up to, anything you guys want to shout out, or if there's another topic you want to touch on, floor is yours. Anything that you kind of want people to know about, could be event, anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'll shout out again. Our town hall is tomorrow during free period in the multi-purpose room.
Awesome.
We have someone from the financial aid office is going to be coming to speak. I know there's always, you know, issues that arise with financial aid, so we want to make sure we have an opportunity for students to express concerns about that, but also anything else. This town hall is a really good opportunity just to hear what we're doing and also, you know, get input on what we could be doing more to help you guys. I think that's, you know, really just great opportunity. We also will typically have general body meetings on Thursdays from 5 to 6:15. We don't have one this week. A lot of us are actually going to be in a conference for SGA to help better improve our ability to help the students.
Awesome.
But every Thursday after that, we will be in West ABC. We spoke really well on the grad initiatives that GAO Chair Vasquez is going to be working on. And we're just, if you have any thoughts or inputs on where the school can be better assisting in those aspects of grad prep, feel free to reach out to us.
Awesome.
Also want to shout out our GAO because she's holding the president's meetings, and if you have any ideas, because we are trying to do a snowball dance of some sort, and we are hoping to launch it next spring. It's something like a tradition that we're trying to put back in campus because the chancellor declined our idea of having a homecoming. So Camden deserves something. So please attend the meetings because our amazing GAO is going to be there.
Awesome. That is so cool. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us. This was a really good experience.
Yeah.
We're glad you're doing something like this. I think it's, like you mentioned, those personal connections are really important. One thing we're taught in like how to lobby effectively on the Hill or in your state is, but it's getting people to tell personal stories. You want someone who has an experience with the issue because the lawmakers are going to feel more connected than you just reading off like 50% of people say this. They don't care, but if you have someone from their district or from their constituency, there's a lot more of a connection there, and they might feel more inclined to, you know, work on something or support that. So that kind of messaging, that kind of personal connection really just helps all around.
Yeah, because I mean, we all have the same goal, and it's like it's weird because like most people who like know me, they still think I'm a student even though I'm not, especially because I'm the same age as like everyone. So like even though I'm staff, it's like I still have the perspective of a student.
Exactly. Yep.
You know, like I'm still thinking about getting my master's degree. So it's like I'm still like with you guys, and most of the people I know on here are students. So it's like I get it, I care about it, so I kind of want to like bridge that gap a little bit. So yeah, thank you guys. If you have additional thoughts, suggestions, drop it in the comments. You can DM any one of us. Why don't we shout out our socials real quick, just so people can follow us?
Well, our Instagram is rucsga. That's really our main social. Just follow us on there. Obviously, if you use Engage at all, check us out on there as well.
Yep. And for the class, it's RUC_Learning Center Instagram. That's our main place. But yeah, drop comments, feedback on things that we talked about in this episode. And definitely, like I said, go to the Academic Achievement Workshop on creating healthy routines tomorrow in Armitage 106. It's during free period. And please, download the Navigate app. I'm telling you, it's so helpful. It touches on a lot of the different things we were talking about here. It's all the academic resources that you need right at your fingertips. If I had had this last semester, it would have helped me so much. So yeah, Navigate student app, download that. And yeah, tune in next week. Same time, same place. Can't wait to see you. And once again, thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one. Bye.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.